The culture is actually damn good.
You got fire in your gut?
Are you kidding me?
On the NFL, lock them down.
I'm calling both games.
The football season is underway, and the itch to experience the game in person consumes us all. The Commanders of all teams sold out their home opener. That should tell you all you need to know. With the demand for tickets high, there's only one option to find a way into the game. That's with SeatGeek, the sponsor of this video. The gold standard for aggregating all tickets on the resale market to help you get the best bang for your buck. We know its majesty, sorting all tickets from red to green on a 1 to 10 scale, giving you a view from where you may be sitting. All tickets certified for authenticity. As efficient as the tush push. Don't forget to use the code TREE in the link below to save $20 off your first purchase. I've been using SeatGeek since roughly the Bronze Age, so they're my go-to for getting my live sports fix. Now on to the sports ball. The Vikings. I could end the segment here and you would understand everything that happened in this game. Take last week's repeated seppuku with the football and amplify it by at least 10 times. Whatever they could fuck up with possession, they did with pleasure. A battered offensive line got even more battered as people apparently blamed Alex Madison for it. So it's his fault the front office cut Dalvin Cook? He wouldn't do anything here and you know it. Kirk Cousins is getting destroyed too. And if things couldn't get worse, Justin Jefferson coughed up the ball at the 1 as it rolls into the end zone to give the ball to Philly. Standard goddamn Minnesota. What did the Eagles do? Just hog time of possession as everyone gets triggered about the tush push. Because God forbid someone use their strength on the interior offensive line to an advantage. That was Minnesota's day. Get them right where you want, then the ball gets tush pushed for a touchback. If only you weren't so damn cursed, Vikings. Here I was thinking that the Texans had a slight chance of being a better team than the Colts this year. Hey, there are different shades of shit, it can be measured that way. Perhaps I underestimated how terrible Houston really is. A defense that could hold on against Lamar Caduso versus Anthony Richardson, right? Nope, that was a lie. Diced on the ground again and again and again. Even as AR was knocked out due to a concussion, the misery did not end. Gardner Minshew picked up the slack. CJ Stroud is being sentenced to die behind whatever this O-line is. It's a miracle he threw for as many yards as he did. At this rate, the correct comparison is 2002 David Carr. The whole city died on repeat. I saw more fight on the goddamn concourse than out of the Texans. I'd call a few of those brawlers up for the practice squad. It couldn't be any worse than being outmatched by the Colts of all teams. The only thing the Bills wanted to prove was that last week was a fluke. Good for them, Las Vegas is the perfect recipe for getting a team off the schneid. Unless you're Denver. It took a little bit to do so, but when Josh Allen snapped off the turnover machine, he became a man of fire. The Raider defense as porous as ever stood no chance against the home onslaught. Points scored in nearly every single drive. 450 yards of total offense. The defensive 11 suffocating their opponent. A complete and dominating win. And it was desperately needed. Simply to get the taste of jet fuel out of their mouths. Well done, you've stemmed the tides of war. There's only one question I have to ask the Raiders. What the hell is happening with Chandler Jones? He went from talking about not dressing to accusing people in the organization of child molestation. It's honestly getting sad. Is this really what Chicago was hyping up? Is this a joke? This is literally the same damn shit they've been giving us for years. Fans and media promised us a quality offense with a potential MVP candidate. Reality is Justin Fields holding onto the ball for 6 seconds of play and screen passes ad nauseum. Tampa Bay was the real revelation here. To be fair, that's easy to do against the Bears. They routed their opponent on all fronts. Mike Evans became God again. And he's proved that he still has it. Their defense relentless in the pass rush. It's hope after being left for dead. That hope is something that's been quashed in Chicago. Any momentum has gone south faster than snowbirds to Florida for winter. Their ire has new names. Luke Getsy, Matt Eberflus, and Justin Fields. Yeah, I don't think Fields is it, Chicago. Another quarterback prospect successfully ruined. Arthur Smith does not need to answer to criticism. The ends are more than justification to his means. His offense is eternally frustrating. They don't use Kyle Pitts as anything more than ornamental decoration, and his decision-making baffles the mind, but there is method to his madness. It may be an indirect result of what he does, but he walks in and wills his way. For 3 quarters, the Packers controlled an honestly sloppy game. Jordan Love was making the plays he needed to make and they were up by 12. There's a reason why they call the fourth quarter the witching hour. Crazy shit tends to happen in such a time. Atlanta's newly sculpted defense cracked down on Green Bay. Only 7 yards surrendered in the final 15 minutes. If the offense can manage to do something with Desmond Ridder doing whatever he's doing, they'll manage. The good news for them is that they're facing Vanilla Joe Barry. His schematics are special. Yeah, let's just call it that. Then add to it by going for it randomly in field goal range on 4th down to burn more clock. It works. The Falcons went from irrelevant to taking the lead. Green Bay responds with an illegal shift penalty. Game over. The Packers suffer a brutal defeat in a Falcons-style choke. Arthur Smith says nothing and leaves. There's magic afoot in Atlanta. If you were to ask me which game would be the lowest scoring affair of the week, I doubt anyone would have said Kansas City against Jacksonville. As is always said, truth is stranger than fiction. It could be because Chris Jones is back. It could be because the Jags defense is a sturdy unit. It could be because Juwan Taylor lost his greatest superpower. I don't know what was in the air in Duval, but it was an incredibly messy game for both offenses. It wasn't like the Jags didn't have chances, they couldn't do anything. Stymied on so many angles. Even when they get down to the goal line, they get stuffed. The Chiefs still had plenty of struggles on offense without Eric Bieniemy, but their defense held their own. Or perhaps it's just because Calvin Ridley couldn't keep both feet in the end zone. Yeah, it was that kind of game for Jacksonville. Kansas City escapes. I call it as pretty as a burning pile of sludge, but you do what you have to do to win. That's always the goal. Do you know how to make sure you keep winning? By ensuring that Patrick Mahomes stays at the top of the payday food chain. His once record-shattering deal is so 2020. The market's been reset by men like Hurts and Burrow. The Chiefs have to keep up with the Joneses, and that means they have to pay the ultimate Patrick price. A restructure to make him even richer than before. His mega deal squeezed into 4 years with $210 million fully guaranteed. A record for a 4-year deal. See, isn't that nice and painless, Kansas City? We'll see you in 2026 for another record-shattering deal. Cincy, you are in deep fucking shit. Week 1 we can excuse as a fluke because a lot of weird things happen then. But for 2 games in a row, there's cause for serious concern. A few things out of the way. Yes, the Bengals are banged up. Yes, Joe Burrow still has some rust to shake off. Yes, this is probably an aberration to what they really are. But do you have any answers for the Ravens offense? They not only dominated possession, they boasted a balanced attack that Cincy seemingly couldn't stop. The Ravens also had some growing pains on offense, but with over 400 yards of it, they looked damn good here. Bursting out to a lead early and holding on for what remained. When the Bengals finally woke up to counter, it was too late. The game was lost. You should know the Escalooser goes in only one direction. Down. Baltimore don't think you got out of this unscathed either. OBJ's out now too. How am I not shocked by this? Thank God Zay Flowers had his breakout. The thing that amazes me the most is that people are still shocked when the Chargers blow games in typical fashion. There's a reason why chargering is a verb, people. Even against Tennessee, a team starting the equivalent of moldy bread at quarterback, they will not only play down to competition, they will squander any chance they get. There will be no luck in the running game. Austin Eckler's out. Justin Herbert is going to have to do every single damn thing for this offense, because he certainly isn't getting much else. You'd think that'd be enough, but the Titans have a fortunate trick up their sleeves, reinforcing that the opposing head coach is Brandon Staley. In theory, a defensive mastermind with plenty of weapons on that side of the ball to shut down opponents. Like most weeks, it sure as hell didn't look like it here. Tennessee bounced back after last week's disaster. They were methodical and the Chargers had no answers most drives. They made Ryan Tannehill not look like he was washed. That's an impressive feat these days. And with an offense that's honestly one-dimensional, the Bolts lost their thunder. The Titans have taken the lead. Sure, Liquid LA would be dragged to a tie by the grace of Justin Herbert to go to overtime, but let's be real. He can't do every single damn thing for this franchise. The Titans forced the Chargers to go 3 and out on their drive. It was over from there. Expecting that defense to make a stop? With everything they invested in it? What do you want, a return on investment? This was a chargering in slow motion. A lot like watching your uncle die due to decades of smoking. You wish to avoid it, but it's inevitable. Once again, people are shocked by this. The last time Seattle played at Ford Field, it was a showcase where both offenses dazzled with the pass and the run. This time around, roughly the same thing happened. A Team eager for a bounce back against a team eager to prove themselves as legit contenders. Well, maybe if they all stop fucking around with the ball. The first half was less a competition and more a comedy of errors and miscues. Detroit does enough to have the lead at half, but then proceed to lather the ball with rich oils to start the third quarter. Seattle responds with a touchdown. The salvo has been fired. The time for play is over. The errors will cease. Both offenses will get to work with the precision that they flashed last year. Crisis constantly averted with drive after drive. Unless you're Detroit, then you're forced to turn the ball over on downs. The Seahawks swoop in on that mistake and take the lead. Jared Goff is the guy to lead a counter. Until a pick six. He was going for that interceptionless streak too. We all jinxed it. Now down by 10, the old Lions would have bent over and died. But this is a Dan Campbell unit. Nope. They'll grind whatever energy they have left and will themselves back into the match. The defense will harden up and hold. And the offense will do just enough to get into field goal range and tie it back up. Overtime is the reward. This is where all the fun ends. Seattle gets ball first and slowly picks them apart on their drive. And then the dagger.
Smith to throw. Pressure from Hutchinson. Runs away. Great throw. Lockett down in for the end zone. It's over. The Seahawks win it.
Pretty rough loss, huh? Oh, silly you. There's plenty more pain to go around. They missed a holding call on the final play. On top of a few other questionable calls throughout the game. Zebras fucking Lions is a long-cherished fetish of the NFL. Just wish they'd be less open about it. If Aaron Rodgers were playing, he would have had a good chance of keeping the Dallas Cowboys under his boot. People tend to forget he owns them as much as Chicago. However, the Jets can have no nice things. New York's terrible O-line would have probably beaten the shit out of him if he were dressed anyway. They're all gonna be taken down by a mighty star. The Cowboy defense, like last week, was relentless and merciless, slaughtering everyone in their path. Nothing left standing, releasing mustard gas to suffocate their opponent with extreme cruelty. This was no contest. Dallas effortlessly crushed what was supposed to be in front of them. They'll defend Zach Wilson in the press, but he didn't do himself many favors under this onslaught. Dallas simply capitalized. The thing is, they're probably right. Wasn't much of a quarterback problem, more than an everything problem. The battle for California has two constants. Niners dominate the Rams in most matchups. Niners fans take to the road and dominate SoFi Stadium. If there's any solace, the Rams look a lot better than we first expected them to be. Matthew Stafford looks like he's turned the clock back 5 years. Puka Nacua is a revelation in the receiving corps. The defense did their best to hold. At least they did their best. It's impossible to keep San Fran's offense contained for long. There are too many weapons and too many scenarios where they can kill you 10 times before you blink. To beat a team like this requires perfection. Fortunately, there are many teams that can't achieve it. How do you stop Christian McCaffrey when he's in form? How about Deebo Samuel? What about Purdy? This game says less about the Rams and more about the Niners. All you can do is begrudgingly tip your hat for a game well played. Besides, LA did better than most. Remember what the Niners did last week? Arizona is incredibly dedicated to the tank. I'm proud of them for avoiding the temptation of winning. It was a highly seductive mistress. The Giants were fucking terrible in the first half. Josh Dobbs became Dan Marino against that defense. Their offense couldn't stop fucking up. They had collapsed so hard they hadn't scored a point in 6 quarters, down 20-0. I have a theory as to why the Cardinals folded after this. Michael Bidwell gave them a halftime speech. If you win this game, he cries, I'm not only going to raise the price of Gatorade in the locker room, I'll yell at the coach in front of his kids. The defense will step aside and allow Danny Derps to cook. Saquon will drive this bus right to the end zone for endless points. The Cardinals will be run over on offense by an M1 Abrams. 24 unanswered points by the G-men to reinforce what Arizona is. Locale of the week. Did you seriously expect it to be anyone else? I'm honestly not even that impressed with New York. This shouldn't have even been a game. You want me to give you the Medal of Honor for this shit? And Saquon's now hurt. Oh, god damn it. Denver still awaits the first bounties of the Sean Payton era. The hex put on them by Josh McDaniels still lingers, but they're finding ways to break out of it. Russell Wilson is balling, displaying a swagger and confidence with the ball not seen since he was a Seahawk, chucking the ball deep with precision. It leads to an incredible breakthrough. They've scored more than 16 points in a football game. A miracle of miracles. Did you believe this would be enough to win with these? What are you kidding? This is Denver! Nothing stops this ride, not even impossible offensive performance. The defense proceeds to buckle this time around, getting chipped away at all angles by Sam Howell throwing dimes and Brian Robinson gashing them repeatedly on the ground. Did you like that sizable 18-point lead? Well, it's gone. It's actually been gone for a while now. I just wanted to try and keep your spirits up. Whatever offensive mastery was fleeting, the commies seized it for their own control. As they're up by 11, this game's pretty much over. Let the Bronco offense finally wake up, it doesn't matter. My shift is through. I'll be back in a minute, I'm gonna go take a shit.
Gonna gather, unleashes towards the end zone. It is deflected and it's caught.
Yeah! Yeah! Whoa! Whoa! Wow, we need 2-point conversion! We need 2-point conversion! Holy fuck!
Wilson to the end zone, batted down and incomplete.
No, 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 no! That's worse. That's worse. He's early. That's fucking pass interference. That's the definition of pass interference. They hate calling pass interference on Cortland Sutton. The guy grabs his shoulder early and they don't throw a flag. That is a rough way to lose.
The Patriots better be thankful Belichick hasn't lost his defensive mastery. If it weren't for that side of the ball, New England would be getting blown out most games. How out of sync they look when holding the football in the first half. They should be thanking the gods they're only down to Miami 17-3 at half. The only offense happening are Patriots fans being cancer. And is that really a revelation? Regardless of that, we're cursed to the same damn script as last week. The defense solidifies with outstanding play, and Mac Jones overcomes the horrors that the Patriots unleash on him to get back in the game. Tua haters proceed to salivate with an underthrown pass that's picked off. Do next to nothing with it as Raheem Mostert takes advantage of bad safety play to rumble for a touchdown. Not a problem for Mac, though. He knows who to target. Eli Apple. At least for some of it. A touchdown to get them within one score does the rest. The question is, can they get another chance? Thankfully, a botched snap on a 3rd and 1 and a botched kick that goes wide gives them such an opportunity. The time of judgment has come upon the Patriots. Do or die time.
Here comes Chubb. Jones throws. It's caught. Flips it back. It's brought in by Strange, the offensive lineman.
It happened again. A turnover by literal inches. Good God, that's deflating. If I had a nickel for every time that's happened to them this year, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird it's happened twice in 2 weeks. This was one of the games of our time. Supposedly, 2 teams came together to pretend to play football before an audience of hostages. There was allegedly entertainment. I personally liken it to watching a videotape involving a cursed ring. We're all going to die in 7 days. Bryce Young will most likely be doing so soon. Dude's all but playing a naked run of Dark Souls on his first go-around. A touchdown in this game wasn't scored until late in the 3rd, thanks to the Saints moving heaven and earth to do so. With the Panthers unable to do shit, congratulations, New Orleans! You get another insanely ugly one where the offense looks terrible, barring a couple of splash plays once again. Can we just pretend this game never happened? My brain is already fried from all the shit that's happened this week. I legitimately don't know what the hell I even witnessed. This was a game? This happened? I thought it was a fever dream after getting a contact high. I'm gonna have to separate this one, aren't I? Yeah, I am. Fuck life.
Bring out Jadine!
Unit lost.
Bring out Jadine! Bring out Jadine! Bring out Jadine!
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
The bloodlust of the football gods will never be quenched. Amen.
Tracking to the 20. Jones across the 25. There he goes. There is a flag down. Jones down the sideline. He will go, but will it count?
There's no foul on the play.
It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown.